Let's be straightforward. There's a part of you that you've been trying to suppress for years. It's a persistent murmur, a discomfort that emerges in the silence. That odd, barely noticeable sensation that arises just when things seem to be okay. It's as though your mind senses your pretense, as if your soul is observing, waiting for the perfect moment to remind you that you still don't grasp it all. You've spent your life convinced that control is essential, that meticulous planning, pushing just enough, and carefully crafting your actions and words will ensure everything turns out right. But what if, despite all your efforts, things crumble anyway? What if the real issue isn't a lack of control, but your relentless pursuit of it? Look around. Notice the strain on those who cling to the invisible strings they think they command. Anxiety doesn't stem from chaos, but from the attempt to fend it off. Fear isn't born from an uncertain future, but from the desire to master it. How often have you felt that tightness in your chest, trying to ensure things go well? How often have you suffocated because you didn't allow yourself to just be? Perhaps you haven't realized it yet, but you are ensnared, not by someone else or an external force, but by a part of yourself you refuse to confront, a part you've deemed your shadow. No amount of positive affirmations or shallow spirituality can hide it. It remains there, watching, knowing that eventually you will have to face it. This isn't about admitting defeat. It's about letting go. Like someone who, after a fierce storm, lets go of their broken umbrella and allows the rain to drench them completely. It's in that raw, honest moment that true freedom starts. You might not see it yet, but your battle against life is what's actually keeping you from truly living it. Every time you force a solution, you drift further from what was naturally unfolding. Every time you set a rigid course, you obstruct the flow that already knew where to lead you. Isn't it ironic? You've equated control with maturity when, in fact, it's a major sign of insecurity. You can't control the ocean, but you can learn to swim. You can't halt the rain, but you can choose to get wet or seek shelter. What I'm sharing isn't mere poetic fluff. It's a hard truth many avoid because it's uncomfortable, as it requires accepting that we are not the center of anything, not the universe, not time, not even our own stories. We are here not to dominate, but to learn how to be present. The pain doesn't come from life itself, but from resisting it, from that constant internal battle. The pressure to be someone, to prove something, to fit in. Have you ever wondered why everything becomes more difficult the more you try? Why? The more you attempt to force a situation, the more it eludes you. Life doesn't punish, but it does react to your energy. If your energy is tense, what you get back is resistance. Life can't be owned, only experienced. And experiencing life isn't about exerting control. It's about being open to uncertainty, to making mistakes, to facing blanks, to looking within, and accepting that often you don't have all the answers. And that's okay, because, in truth, nobody does. Yet, only the courageous admit this. Only those who release their grip on the helm discover that the river knew the path all along. So, the question remains, are you ready to stop battling yourself? Or will you continue to pretend you have everything under control while internally you fall apart? Living behind a facade of certainty while your inner turmoil screams in seclusion is the ultimate deception. But if you truly dare to face yourself fearlessly, to sit with yourself without distractions, you'll uncover a truth nobody has told you. Peace doesn't arrive when everything is perfect, but when you no longer need it to be. Why does your life still feel misaligned? Because you're trying to assemble it with pieces that don't belong to you. You're constructing your life based on someone else's blueprint, following paths you don't understand, repeating words that don't resonate with you. The chaos you fear isn't external, it's within, and the order you seek won't appear as long as you deny the existing disarray. But there is a way out. It isn't a magical solution, a breathing exercise, or an inspirational quote. It's a choice to not just endure life, but to fully engage with it, fearlessly, without expectations, without resistance. Only then does true freedom begin. And just when you think you've grasped something, another, even more unsettling truth emerges. You have no real idea who you are. What you consider your identity is merely a construct, shaped by others' expectations, unhealed wounds, and the masks you've donned to shield yourself from pain. The harder you cling to this fabricated identity, the more you suffer, because deep down, you know it's not genuine. You sense that beneath all the layers lies something more authentic, raw, and vulnerable, and that terrifies you. That's why you crave control, because letting go of that identity, disarming yourself completely, forces you to ask, without these roles, who are you? What remains when the armor falls? Now, the real challenge begins. The true adversary isn't life. It's the version of yourself you insist on maintaining. That image you even sell to yourself. That notion of how you should be, the perfectionist, the strong one, the unbreakable. But behind that facade lies a truth you've avoided. You are not that character. You never were. And living as if you are is slowly killing you, not with loud protests or dramatic breakdowns, but with a quiet emptiness that deepens daily. An emptiness that no success, achievement, or recognition can fill. Have you noticed? You've accomplished things you once only dreamed of, yet you still feel adrift. Because you're building a life for someone you aren't. Herein lies the cruelest irony. The more you strive to control everything to protect that identity, the more you drift from your true self. You stop feeling, experiencing, living. You're so fixated on sustaining your ideal self that you don't see this self doesn't breathe, doesn't feel, doesn't dream. It merely survives. And that's the cost of control, disconnection. Because to control, you must think more than you feel. You analyze every action, every word. You become a strategist of your own life, and in doing so, you forget to actually live it. But there's something even deeper and more daunting. The reason you can't relinquish control isn't just fear. It's guilt. Deep down, part of you believes you don't deserve to let go. That if you're not struggling, you're failing. That if you're not suffering, you're not growing. You've been conditioned to think life is inherently painful, and that peace is a sign something is amiss. And tragically, you've accepted this. You've believed your worth is tied to your brokenness, that tranquility is for the weak, that living in the moment is irresponsible, that not fighting is akin to surrender. But these beliefs are misconceptions. You've confused surrender with defeat, fluidity with passivity, authenticity with chaos. And it's not your fault. From a young age, you were taught to suppress your shadow, to hide your anger, to conceal your sadness. You were told being emotional was a sign of weakness, that feeling was dangerous. So you learned to control your impulses, your thoughts, your very breath, for fear of being too much yourself. But you weren't born for this. You came into this world to feel, to expand, to err without guilt, to love unconditionally. You came to live, not just to survive. But to truly live, you must first let go of what you think you are. And yes, that can be terrifying. Losing that controlled image of yourself feels like a death. But it's a necessary end. It's the price of freedom. Because only when the persona dies can the real person emerge. And here's a final, vital piece of wisdom. You can't find peace by trying to control everything. Peace isn't something you build. It's something you allow. It comes when you stop demanding life to conform to your desires and start seeing it for what it is. And when you do that, everything shifts. Not magically, not instantly, but it changes. Because the conflict becomes unnecessary. You're no longer fighting your feelings, forcing outcomes, or resisting what's happening. You're simply being. And to just be is the most revolutionary act you can undertake. But of course, to be present means to stop running. And you've been running your entire life. You run mentally, emotionally, even when physically still. You run through expectations, judgments, perpetual plans to dodge the emptiness. And I understand, I do.